Hey guys, kicking Pilates. Okay, today's dedicated to dry step punting. So, guys, doesn't seem like the dry step punt is a big deal, but it is the source of just bad mechanics, bad habits. So, very simple. A lot of times, we'll come on out to practice and we'll be kicking to a friend and we'll get in the middle of a story. We'll have pretty good form, and all of a sudden, we'll just make a joke. We start leaning back, our ribs start getting further away from our hips. Rather than planting heel to toe, we start hitting the ball of our foot, leaning back and sticking our belly out because, you can still make a spiral if you're right there, but it's really about keeping this form. So first I'd just like to talk about, lots of guys do their little pat, try to hit a spiral with a buddy. It's very simple. This drill is so important because you want to keep this same connection, the same flat back, shoulders down your back, ribs in. And when you're hitting it, it's the same jump motion. You're going heel to toe. Just because you're only kicking a little line drive, it doesn't really matter. But you want to push off the ball of your foot, not the tippy toe. In your follow through, you want to be leaning back. Bend your knee, grab your belly, and pull your shoulders down your back. You'll see that'll help you go forward, okay? So that's number one. Just the little, if you're doing your little tapping back to your friend, you want to make sure you're keeping that form like somebody's pushing you forward. Your hips always want to be moving forward. Okay, the other thing, this is where a lot of us get in trouble because we start in high school. We see all these pictures of all these pros. They got their foot way above their head. So what do kids do? They start trying to slap their hand above their head, okay? Well, the problem is they don't really know how to break down film. They don't really understand what's happening. They see the slap, but they don't know that in slow motion, as their legs coming up, they're actually sticking out their butt. So they're not lengthening out of the hip flexor. They're actually sinking into their knee to create that height with their foot, okay? So just because they get their foot up here and they slap it, a lot of times your ribs and your butt, they're all connected. So the second you stick that butt out, that's going to compromise your rib position. You compromise those ribs, your shoulders are going to shrug, you're going to stick your neck out, and then all of a sudden, if you look in slow motion, a lot of guys are reaching for it. And when you reach, you stick out your butt, it's impossible to lengthen out that hip flexor, okay? So a little drill I like to do. When you're just doing dry steps, same thing like we're hitting those little taps. No leaning back, even though if it's dry step, make it 50, 60%. Hold this rib to hip connection. Make sure you're going heel to toe and switch legs. Now, it's not important to slap your hand. What I want you to do is think knee to hand, not hand to foot, right? Because when you think knee to hand, you get to keep this rib to hip connection with your shoulders down your back. And if you notice, you always want to get this little plant leg hip flexor stretch on each rep, okay? So do it on both sides when you're warming up. So right, get a little stretch right here. Left, little stretch right here. Make sure your hips always going forward. Switch, okay? And then the last little drill I like to do when you're coming through, I like to pretend that there's a piece of Velcro holding down my left foot. And when I'm reaching out, it's almost like I'm trying to hit something with my knee. You should feel a little stretch every single time. And remember, when there's a stretch, that means your hip's neutral. If you're sticking your butt out, you're never gonna feel that stretch, which is exactly why people overstride. So, all right, little punting dry steps. Hope you like it.